Hello and namaste to everyone. I am Motiram Sidapati from Karnali province, Nepal. I would like to welcome all of you in my presentation about my experience as a translator. Before undergoing to the translation process, my anticipation about translation was really different. I was thinking that translation is an easy and comfortable process. It does not require a lot of dedication, preparation, and devotion. I was only thinking that if I just keep the literal meaning of the word from one language to another, I would suffice my duty. I was not bored about the rubrics of translation, and at the same time, I was in the seventh heaven. I only cared about the product, but did not care about the meaning, message, and the ethics of translation. But when I underwent and when I encountered with the real translation, I found entire difference in my thinking and in the process of translating the task. When I encountered with the various texts, legal text, political text, scientific text, and other text, I just came to know that those various texts were comprising of multiple values. Some texts were carrying out cultural, linguistic, and pragmatic value, and some other texts were carried out religious belief and political sense. So, keeping the harmony with the source text to the target language text was the biggest challenge, and it was to be maintained very well. And there were various methods, models, and methodologies to be used according to the context and situation. And not only that, there were issues to be dealt, issues related to gender, issue related to number, and issues related to the ethics of translation. And as for example, if we talk, if we take moon as a feminine gender in Nepali language, the same word moon can be taken as a masculine gender in Sanskrit. Similarly, if we talk death in Nepali language, it can be used as masculine gender, but if we take death and if we talk about death in Sanskrit language, it's Sanskrit language, death is used as feminine gender. So these multiple issues of translation were to be dealt very well, and I could get the insights during my translation. Translation was the challenging job, and there were multiple theories and approaches propounded and suggested by various theorists and propounders. Eugene Nida's theory of dynamic equivalence brought the light about using the proximal meaning of the words. If the meanings cannot be identical, if the words cannot be identical to express the meaning, then the use of proximal words, the words which are near to the word, can be chosen so that the difficulty of substituting the word for the target language can be sufficed. Similarly, Roman Jacobson's three approaches of translation, intralingual, interlingual, and intersemitic, could somehow help me benefit or benefited to learn what really the language requires and what can be done to fulfill the tasks of translation. Next, the theory of domestication and foreignization of Lawrence Venuti, which could help me to take the readers to the writer and also to bring the writer to the reader so that the understanding between the source text and target language text can be harmonized well. These were the theories and approaches that I could use during my experience of translation. But when I completed the job of translation, I found complete sense because the confusion with the text, context, and canons that I had was purified and identified when I myself visit and when I myself visited the translation process working with multiple text, I could understand the tone of the text, the pride it carried, the glory it carried, and the anger it carried sometimes. Because a word in nature can carry multiple meaning. A word can cause the world war. At the same time, it can create the peace and harmony. If used well, if interpreted well, and if harmonized well, it can bring the sense and meaning. Next one, I can get the spirit of original text because if we just talk about the spirit of original text written in Hindu language, Nepali language, cow's urine, this may be a bit different for other languages and other cultures because every culture is not similar culture. Cow's urine considered holy for Hindu religion, but if we just translate that text another way, and if we just interpret it as a letter, then the readers will be full of anger and it will create the disaster. So, language and the spirit it carries matters the most. During and after the process of translation, there was fun learning because I could associate Nepali and English language simultaneously. There was fun because when I made the mistake of translating from one language to another, and when I came to know the real meaning of the word, it created the fun also. At the same times, it aroused the curiosity also. Next thing, if we talk about the structure of language, no two languages are similar because sometimes we can talk about subject, verb, object in English language, and it is entirely different in Nepali language. So maintaining harmony and giving the skeleton and flesh to one language and changing this language with skeleton and flesh to another was the challenging job. The journey of translation remained both beautiful and terrifying. Beautiful in the sense that I could manage to translate various texts, incorporating multiple theories and models. Terrifying in the sense that I could not get in the first attempt whatever I wanted to get because my perspective about translation was entirely different when I entered. But when I underwent through the multiple process of translating, I could get the insight of learning. So I expect that keeping the balance between source target and target language is one of the most important thing. And sometimes when we are making the balance between the words and languages, some words can be omitted and some words can be deleted or edit. So there must be a harmony between both language, and if there is concord and harmony between both the languages, and if the translator does not deviate the meaning, does not deviate the sense, then in my perspective, he is the true translator or she is the true translator. So the journey is never ending. We are attempting to translate, be it any type of text. Let's keep the journey continue. And I hope that there are multiple texts to be analyzed. There are multiple texts to be translated. And I will continue my journey of translating. If you want to give your suggestions and feedback related to translation, I would like to welcome your positive feedback and comments. Thank you. With this, I would like to end today's presentation. Have a good time. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.